Hey, it's me.
Your best pal, Stalky boy. What do you mean I shouldn't be here? I'm your best buddy. I know you told me to stay away, but I can tell when you're joking. Don't get out of bed. We have a really important thing to talk about. We have to go over all of Michael's add-ons. Ooh, exciting. Hey all, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. Stalky boy here, coming at you from within your walls. And we're ranking the Myers add-ons today. I'm just going to go from rarity. I'm going to go from brown to eerie, and we're going to go ahead and rank them. Unfortunately for me, the template here, everything's really messy. We'll start with blonde hair. Blonde hair is like C. If you don't know what it does, it extends your tier 3 by 10 seconds, and you have to stock 50% more to get there. It's really not worth it. I'm even tempted to put it in D. Even if it's like all you have, it's probably better to just not run it at all, just because the extra 10 seconds, it's not really worth it. You're getting more work for very little reward. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. The jewelry add-on, another D tier. We're really going strong here. The jewelry add-ons in general are just not very good. There are some niche uses if you're using jewelry add-ons with the mirror add-ons. That's about the only time that it's worth it to really run any jewelry. And even when I say worth it, there are usually better options. Which, speaking of which, the boyfriend's memo, I'll put in C because it has like some usage, but really not much usage at all. This extends Myers' tier 1 lunge by a little bit. Now, this is mostly paired with Scratch Mirror, and, you know, we'll talk to about that add-on in a little bit. But there are some strategies that revolve around going to an indoor map with Myers and then staying within tier 1 and messing around with it. Even then, I just can't really bring myself to put this higher. It's like, if anything, C tier might even be a courtesy just because, well, you know what? It can be funny with Scratch Mirror. Memorial Flower, I don't know why this is a yellow. I guess this hasn't been updated, but this is now a brown add-on, and it is easily the shape's best brown add-on. If you don't know what it does, it increases the shape stocking by 11%. Really good. There's like, you get more stock and you get it faster. There's not really a downside. It's a really good add-on. I believe that is all of the brown. So now we're going to be talking about the yellow add-ons. Jewelry. This, you move a little bit faster while stocking. Same reasons as before. There are some very small niche uses for this, but it's not really all that great. This is a mirror shard. This is actually probably D tier 2. So this mirror shard, when you stock a survivor in tier 1 for a period of time, you get to see their aura. You're in tier 1 for like 2 seconds with while stalking. Like, you do not get to stalk survivors for very long and this pop up, because then you're going to go into tier 2 and then you can never go back to tier 1 for the rest of the match. It's a pretty bad add-on. Now, its big brother, this shard, I'd probably put it in A tier. The mirror shards in general, when we get to the greens, I will talk much more in depth about the mirror shard. But essentially now in tier 2, when you stalk a survivor for a period of time, I believe with this shard, you get to see their aura for 3 seconds. This is actually super good. More so better with the green. I'd actually probably maybe put this in brown, B tier. But once we get to the real mirror shard, I'll really hammer in why it's actually so good. Dead Rabbit. This is a great add-on. There's like very little downside. This might be an S tier. Yeah, I want to say this is an S tier, mostly because you have to kind of, if it's just Dead Rabbit by itself and you don't have any synergy, I'd probably say it's an A tier. But, you know, it's very unrealistic that you're not going to be like rocking other perks and add-ons with it. So I would say it's an S tier. So in tier 2, you get a reduced tear radius of 25%. And in tier 3, you get an increased tear radius of 25%. So what this means, if you combine this with a perk like Monitor and Abuse, it goes perks first. So Monitor reduces your tear radius by 8 in tier 2, right? So you have an 8-meter terror radius, and then Dead Rabbit subtracts a 25%, so you get a 6-meter terror radius. That is really good. Of course, in tier 3, it makes it bigger, but you can actually make that bigger terror radius a strength. So let's say you are rocking Infectious Fright. Now in tier 3, when you do that, you're going to have a super big terror radius, and Monitor and Abuse increases your terror radius while in chase. So you're going to have a giant terror radius when you down someone in tier 3, and you're going to be making the whole map scream, and it's going to be great. You're going to be loving that. That's going to be fun. There's just a lot of stealth and different combinations that you can use with Dead Rabbit to just make Myers more lethal. It's really good. Hairbrushed, kind of like the blonde hair. This also increases your tier 3. Now it's 20 seconds. I would say 20 seconds is a little bit more worth it. I would say it's like a B tier now. Now the extra work you put in, because it's only for the first time you get to tier 3, and then after that, 20 seconds of extra tier 3 is not terrible. That's not bad at all. Don't run the hair. If you're new to the game, just wait till you get this. If you just have brown add-ons, just run the flower. Just run the flower if you can. I would even take, you know what, because just run that in like the tier 1 mirror if that's all you have. Wait, is the tier 1 mirror really yellow? Never mind, don't run that. Run the tier 2 mirror. Or Dead Rabbit. Just don't run blonde hair, please. But I would say the 20 seconds finally makes it worth it. Okay, now we got the greens. Hair bow is an A tier add-on. It used to be S tier, but there's another add-on that is just better than it in every way. I guess I shouldn't say every way. In one way that just makes this add-on, it's still really great. Now we're getting extended tier 3 add-ons that are great. So this has the same stocking requirement, extra 50% stock for the very first tier 3, and then every subsequent tier 3 is the normal 5 seconds of stock. This is great. You just get quite a bit of tier 3, very worth the amount required for the more stock for the first tier 3. I just spoke a lot of great English there. Thank you. I know. There's not really a lot of downsides to this add-on, if at all. The extended tier 3 add-ons, I actually felt used to not be too great. I felt they were overrated because Myers only had so much stock before. Like, you could fully stock, like, rule someone's stock on a survivor completely with how Myers used to work and how much stock a survivor had by, like if you just found, like, a immersed survivor by themselves and you fully stocked them, boom, no more stock for the rest of the game. And having those tier 3s was so valuable for Myers. But since every survivor has double the amount of evil now, that is no longer an issue. And I would say all of the extended tier 3 add-ons, except for blonde hair, that still sucks. But, you know, hairbrush, hair bow, and the lock of hair are all so much better now. They're all great add-ons, some of the best. Jewelry box, I guess I'll put this in C tier for the... No, I can't even do that. I'm sorry. All the jewelry add-ons are bad. Like, it increases his walking speed while stalking. Whoop-de-doo. It doesn't really matter. Run anything else. This is an S tier add-on. It just increases all the stock you get by, like, wait a minute, isn't this one 25%? This is 25 and this one's like freaking 10%? I don't know. I think I'm going crazy. Yeah, I think that's what it is, yeah. But, you know, as I said with the Memorial Flower, you get a lot more stock, you get a lot faster, there's no downside. This add-on doesn't come with a single downside. So, it's just great. Juice Journal, I would say, is an A tier add-on. Especially with obsession switching perks being so common now. Juice Journal is great. I'd probably even put it over Memorial Flower. This increases the stocking you get only on the obsession by 40%, I believe. So, as we just said there, only on the obsession, but there are so many obsession switching perks now. And because Play With Your Food is also such a great perk on Myers, oftentimes you're going to be wanting to run obsession perks. Without an obsession perk, this is probably like B. This is probably like bottom of B tier. But because they're so common now on Myers, and I imagine if you're going to run Juice Journal, you will take into account that you can only stock the obsession. So of course you're going to be wanting something that will help you switch the obsession. Juice Journal, I think, really shines if you take it with one of the add-ons that require a lot more stock, whether that's Tombstone Piece, the Juice Tombstone, or the Fragrant Tuft of Hair, because you're going to have to like stalk an individual for a long period of time anyways. So having something that really speeds that up rather than like, you know, just the J Myers is great, but like it can really speed up the process if you're rocking one of these 3 add-ons. It can help out a lot with that. That's when I think this add-on really shines. And Mirror Shard, I think this is an S tier add-on now. With how Myers currently works, this is also a really good beginner's add-on. I would say this is like the beginner add-on to run. So if you don't have these, and if you're a beginner, I would recommend running the tier 2 Mirror Shard. Also, real quick, sorry, I was a big old dum-dum. These need to be swapped. I got them confused. This is the tier 1 add-on, and this is the tier 2. I had an epiphany. I don't really run the yellows as much anymore, so I haven't really seen the descriptions as much, so forgive me for that. I apologize. But Mirror Shard, how it works is when you stalk a survivor for 1 second, you get to see their aura for 5 seconds. So why is this so amazing? I would actually... No, I want to put it over that, but I want to because I like it so much. I think it's more fun. I'd say Dead Rabbit is below these, though. So why this is so good is since they changed how Myers stalk works, so now he wants to stalk survivors when survivors are farther, right? And survivors are going to be dipping into cover a lot, right? So you stalk them for a period of time. Let's say they dive behind a rock, right? You're going to see exactly the second they decide to move away from that rock, and you can immediately start stalking again. So it helps you not lose these survivors. If they do like duck behind and then they try and be immersive so you can't stalk them or whatever, it'll help you keep track of them if they duck into like a jungle gym or something like that. If you stalk them right before they vault over a window, all of a sudden you're going to have wall hacks for the loop that you're about to play. So whether you decide to actually go for a hit or if you decide to go for more stalking, you're going to see their aura as they duck and weave. It just gives you nice information. Like I've had times where I've like stalked individuals from farther away, like multiple survivors. They all duck into corners and I see like one hide behind a bush or something like that as the other survivor just kind of keeps holding forward, hoping that I would just walk past them and, you know, ignore them, which, you know, not the case. I see them because of Mirror Shard and then you murder them. It's great. If you have not played with Mirror Shard since the update, I highly recommend it. Another thing that goes really great with it is because up close stalking is slower now. When you're up close to them, you're going to be able to get more wall hacks since you're not going to be getting like an insane amount of stalk. So whether you're stalking from afar or up close, this add-on is really great. I think a few people are sleeping on this add-on. I think we need more Mikeys running this. This is a really good add-on. Very fun. It's just a really fun add-on. It's cool seeing like people's auras and stuff and being able to mess with them. It's great. Very fun. Okay, on to the purples. Tombstone Piece. Do I need to explain myself? I guess for people that maybe are new to the community, I should explain myself. So Tombstone Piece makes tier 3 take 300% longer to actually achieve tier 3, but once you get to tier 3, you can Mori someone. If you're just right behind someone, you get the prompt to just kill them, and you just outright kill them. It doesn't matter what state they're on, doesn't matter what hook, whatever, blah, 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 they are dead. Once you kill them, though, you return to tier 2, and you have to stalk back up. I believe it's a 10 seconds of stalk, or no, it's probably more now. No, I think it's about 10 seconds of stalk to get back to tier 3. And of course, having someone dead is a very valuable thing to have. It's kind of the main objective, and Tombstone Piece allows you to get that extremely fast. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's very good. Vanity Mirror, it's like, I don't know, it's probably like a bottom of B. The mirrors are kind of memes. The thing with Vanity Mirror, though, is if you want blood points, this is your go-to guy, because every hit in tier 2 is going to give you, I believe, 100% additional blood points in Devious. you're going to rack up those points so freaking fast, but you no longer gain access to tier 3. Instead, you gain access to wall hacks within 16 meters of you. That's not very, very far. It's mostly good for like around loops and tiles and stuff. It's not as good for like information. You still have the 60-meter terror radius because you're in tier 2, so it's often combined with Dead Rabbit or a Jewelry to like either go around a little faster or have a smaller terror radius. It's fine, but you know, you do get rid of like one of Michael's greatest strengths, that being tier 3, the insta-downs. It's very useful for applying pressure and stuff like that, but it's a fun add-on to mess with. Scratch Mirror isn't a very good add-on, but it's a fun add-on for a lot of people. I'm not personally too crazy about it, but a lot of people really enjoy this. So Myers is locked into tier 1, and it reduces his movement speed by 5%. So he's a 105% movement speed killer, tier 1. Now the trade-off is he gets to have wall hacks every time he stalks within 32 meters. As you can probably imagine, since you're really slow as Myers, you kind of need, it's only really good on very specific maps, so you really should be bringing a map offering to this. And map offerings are about to get nerfed, so Scratch Mirror is going to be even worse. Once again, though, great for blood points. You get lots of blood points per hit. But because of how slow you are, good teams will be competent and know that when they get hit, they simply need to just go somewhere safe, like buy a pallet, heal themselves up. It'll slow them down a little bit, but with allies and stuff, good groups are going to come back really fast. It's fun, but it's not very, like, actually good for winning, you know? Lock of Hair is an amazing add-on. It's, like, right up there with the Memorial. As I said earlier, Hairbow would be S tier, but, like, this add-on is just better. It is Hairbow, but better. So how this add-on used to work and why it was so bad was you needed, I believe it was 75. No, I think it was 100% extra stock. Yeah, it was 100% extra stock for 40 seconds of tier 3. So it was double the stock requirement of Hairbow, and you only got an additional 10 seconds. That is stupid. Luckily, though, that has been changed, and it has now been brought in line with all the other extended tier 3 add-ons. So it is just a 50% extra stock requirement for the first tier 3, and you get a 40-second additional 40 seconds of tier 3. So it's a near 2-minute tier 3 for no other disadvantages or anything like that. It's just Hairbow, but better. That's about it. For the Eries, Judith's Tombstone is, I think this is Michael's best add-on in the game. I know that might be a little controversial because, you know, a lot of Tombstone pieces been the reigning champ for so long, but I think after this patch, Judith's Tombstone is the better one. A lot of people combine this with the Infinite tier 3. Don't do that. It'll take way too long to get to tier 3. So let me hurry and explain the add-on. So once again, it takes longer to get to tier 3. It is 400%, I believe. Let me fact check that. Hi, Stalky Boy from the future. So the Wikipedia is not correct with a few of these add-ons, so I apologize for that. The Tombstone piece is 300% increase in stock, and the Eries are 400 increase in stock. Those are the correct variables. I apologize for that. So once Myers gets to tier 3, like the Tombstone piece, Myers can just straight up kill survivors. Now in tier 3, though, after Myers kills a survivor, he continues to stay in tier 3 and can continue to kill survivors for the duration of tier 3. That sounds very powerful. The drawback is Myers is 9% slower in tier 3, which sounds pretty spooky, but that actually isn't as bad as it seems like it is. Now, unlike the Tombstone piece, once Myers is done with tier 3, whether he has killed someone or not, Myers will always return to only needing 5 seconds of stalking to get back to tier 3. So once Myers gets to tier 3 with Judith's Tombstone, it is just non-stop murdering. And it catches survivors off guard all the time with how fast you get back to tier 3 because they're just so used to Tombstone piece, which after tier 3 is over and you kill someone, it takes, you know, the 10 seconds to actually get back to Tombstone piece, right? but you can kind of just keep popping tier 3 over and over, and because it requires less stock to get to tier 3, you end up getting more tier 3s as well, so you get more chances to actually kill survivors. And a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, but that 9% is rough. I don't understand this argument. This used to make sense because 9%, that was applicable to all of his tiers in with Judas Tombstone. But like now it's only tier 3, and in tier 2 you're going to be the normal speed. And just like with Tombstone Piece, you simply 99 your tier 3, you run up to the survivor, and then you kill them. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, but then you're 9% slower for tier 3. Well, guess what, buddy? Somebody's dead, and who cares if you run up to the other guy with 3 stacks to play with your food and he decides to go into a locker? He's still going to be down. He's either going to be down or you're actually going to catch him, and then 2 people are dead. The game is basically over at that point. So it's either they die or they jump into a locker. They jump into a locker, you put them on the hook, so you have a person dead and then someone on a hook, and there's only 2 active survivors. Someone needs to go for the save, so there can only be 1 active survivor on the gen. It's crazy how fast, once you get to tier 3, Judas Tombstone is absolutely insane. And I mean, people know it's good, but I don't think people realize how good this add-on is. This add-on is nutty. I mean, obviously it's a Tombstone, but it is really, really good. Now, obviously, amazing NFL high tier S tier teams, they know how to play against Tombstone. A lot of them will just assume you have Tombstone right off the bat, and that can make things a little difficult. But you can do some things to sort of trick them into thinking you don't have Tombstone. Like, instead of immediately just stalking in every situation, you can play the game normally. You can hit them in tier 2 and do all this sort of stuff. Something I like to do is I do like to hook a few individuals so they drop their guard down, and then I actually kill them with Tombstone. Usually for the first Tombstone, sometimes if I think it's a better team, I'll actually just tier 3 down them, and they drop their guard. They don't think I have Tombstone, and then they open themselves up, and then I murder them. It's great. It's wonderful. But yeah, I just think Judas Tombstone, amazing add-on, little slept on. I think people understand that it's good, but I don't think people realize how amazing this add-on is. Now, we went from add-ons I think are a little bit slept on to an add-on I think is overrated. I think this add-on is incredibly overrated. I think this is actually a B tier add-on, and I'll explain why. So, Infinite Tier 3. Once again, it requires 300% stalking to get to Tier 3. Once you get to Tier 3, your Tier 3 is infinite. Now, that sounds really cool on paper. However, unlike Judas Tombstone, the reward for actually getting to Tier 3 is just not worth it. It takes way too long to actually insta down survivors, right? With Michael, you want to start your pressure, you want to get it going quickly. With Judas Tombstone, it's worth it because you get someone out of the game completely. You still have to hook every single survivor 3 times with this add-on. You have to do that. And then also, you never go back to tier 2, so survivors are constantly going to be feeling afraid, and you're going to have a larger terror radius, which means you need to dedicate a perk slot to lowering your terror radius, which stinks. So it takes a lot longer to get to tier 3, which gives survivors way more opportunity to do more gens and go crazy. And then by the time you get to tier 3, now you have to it just it takes longer for Mikey to get going. And that's not good. Mikey needs to get the ball rolling quickly. He needs to go as fast as he can, or he's going to have a hard time because he has less mobility, so more gens are going to be done, and he's going to have a hard time going through things. That being said, something that Infinite Tier 3 is amazing at is camping. So if you can lock down a 3-gen, and if you can put a survivor on a hook in that 3-gen, oh, you're gonna be having a good time. It's gonna be incredibly hard for the survivors to do something, but you need to get in that situation. So you better hope that there's a hook near that 3-gen in a decent place, and then you better hope you get tier 3 fast enough And then you just need to hope that they don't have like a lot of other perks. You need to hope that, oh no, they traded and they have like decisive strike. They have like for the people. They have like borrow time and they have buckle up and they have, you know, they have all these other things. It's there are so many perks in the game. Like what if they have reassurance? What if they have XYZ? It's back in the day when things were simpler. this add-on I think was a lot better. But over time, with more perks being added and stuff like that, I think this add-on is just not as good. Especially back then, it didn't require as much stock to actually get to tier 3. Now it takes a lot longer, and Myers loses a very valuable resource, and that is giving survivors a false sense of security. Now they're always going to feel safe. You're always going to have the bigger tear radius. It's just... I think it is extremely overrated. I still think it's solid. It can be good at like slugging and camping, like I said with the camping. But slugging is about to get nerfed a bit more too, and there's so many more anti-slugging perks too that I think it's just Mikey doesn't do the best with this add-on. I think there are a lot of better choices than this add-on. But this is just my opinion. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And would you guys like to see more like tier list stuff like this? Like we can go over all the perks with Myers. We can do other things. But I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about the Myers add-on since it's been changed and all that fun stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and goodbye. I guess your friend escaped his restraints, but don't worry. I'll be back. Maybe remember to invite me to your next sleepover party so that we can talk about more fun Michael Myers stuff. All right, I got a jet. Catch you later.